Hey everybody, it's Rulk here. Thanks for joining me again today. Got a new setup today, so we're actually going to get some gameplay soon. But new router, so everything's working good on the stream. Things a lot smoother. A little jumpy, but it's much smoother. It's much better. Change around the processes. We're doing good. So today in this video, I want to talk a little bit about my roster. I wanted to do that in one of my last videos, but I just kind of ran out of time talking about masteries. So just kind of wanted to share my roster and what I've got and what I'm working with, types of teams that I've built, what I use for different, who I use for the different modes for questing, for Alliance War, for Alliance Quest, etc. And kind of give you an idea of the strategy of what I've done and what I'm hoping to do from here. So, starting right off at the top, my um, let's my main three that are always on my Alliance Quest team, no matter what. They're dedicated Alliance Quest. I mean, if our Alliance Quest is not running at the moment, then I'll use them for quest, story quest or event quest, stuff like that. Would be Thor, who I have at 440, signature level 56. Thor's an absolute monster. I mean, he can deal a hell of a lot of damage. I know a lot of people are disappointed from after a 12.0 patch, and they said that they really nerfed him pretty hard, but honestly, I didn't have Thor before that, so I don't know any better, and coming at it from a fresh perspective, I think Thor's good. So that's my point. He really does dish out a lot of damage as long as you can stun them. So this is why I tend to put Thor over on Alliance Quest rather than on the war maps, because the tier that we're in on the war map, there's a lot of nodes that have stun immunity. So when you're going through those and you've got Thor and you hit somebody with stun immunity, his damage output's just not quite there. So he makes a good mini boss killer for Alliance Quest. He makes a pretty decent path clearer. Definitely can't get clipped much with him because he doesn't have the regen, so you're just relying on salve to kind of do all the work for you, which isn't great. But as long as your parry game is on top, I mean, he's awesome. Can really dish out some damage. So his signature ability there, when Thor stuns his opponents, he tears apart their armor, reducing it by 2,463. I mean, that's pretty massive, and that stacks 2 times. So Thor's one of my main ones, and then I'll also bring X23. She's my other dedicated Alliance Quest champ. X23 is amazing, absolutely amazing. She's a great path clearer because she's got regen and she's got that bleed. And if you saw my other video about my mastery setup, you'll notice that I have bleed or deep wounds maxed out, and that is purely for X23. I mean, I have a lot of other bleed characters, but X23 is the main reason for that, just so she can clear the paths through AQ so much faster and so much easier. Kind of the downside to having her so strong and have so many deep wounds is that it does make for fast fights. So her regens don't tend to trigger and get a chance to do their job and bring her health back up. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll bring her in against like a tech champ like Vision that I know is going to be bleed immune, so that the fight will last longer, and then I can get a chance to regen her up before I push through the final section or something like that. But she's great. She's always on my top team no matter what. And then the third one that I bring into that is Hulk, who has a synergy with Thor, or is it the other way around? Yes, he has a synergy with Thor here, where he gets plus 115 critical damage rating. So that's just a small little boost to the critical damage, which X23 is always dealing a ton of critical hits because of her awakened ability. Let me go back to that. That's kind of the key. I mean, you don't have to have X23 awakened, but I do, and I think it's really great. So basically, anytime the opponent has 3 or more bleed stacks, or Wolverine has 3 or more cruelty stacks, her assassin training kicks in, telling her to finish them off, increasing critical rating and critical damage rating by 261.37. It's not a huge number, but it's pretty significant. And it's increasing both. It's increasing the frequency by which you're going to get critical hits, and then it's also increasing the damage done by those critical hits. So she really starts tearing stuff apart at that point. And then you add on top that extra synergy boost of the critical what was it, the critical damage. Yeah, critical damage rating. So then her crits are going to be doing even more. Everybody's crits are doing even more. Hulk is crazy good, crazy good. Since the 12.0 buff that they did to him, he is such a good champ. I had him in my roster for quite a long time. I got him fairly early on, and before that, I just never ranked him up because I didn't feel he was worth it. I mean, he kind of didn't really have much output. He really wasn't Hulk-like. He just kind of sucked. He's kind of a pansy. But after 12.0, they did a really good buff to him, and I'm really happy with what they did. So he's getting Fury a lot more, and his damage output is just crazy right now. So when he's either attacked or when he's attacking, he's got a 12% chance to gain Fury, increasing his attack by 368 for 6 seconds. And then I did use a signature, or an Awakening Stone, a 4-star Science Awakening Stone on him, because I didn't really have many other good options at that point, and I figured his signature ability would be good for defense, but I never use him on Alliance War defense. So when the Hulk is angered and receiving damage, strengthening his attack by up to 1,471 based on lost health. Yeah, you wouldn't like him when he's angry, darn right. Rulk Smash. So really where that comes in is if you're kind of getting your ass kicked on like Dormammu at the end of Alliance Quest, which Hulk does a really good job just tearing him apart. But inevitably, if you start taking some of that damage even through your blocks and stuff and you get down to that low health, he's going to hit a point where he gets this crazy Fury buff. Where is it? Come on. There it is, passive, last one. When dropping below 25% health, Hulk gets ready to smash his opponent into the ground, gaining a massive Fury for 8 seconds, which increases his attack by 1,012. So what his base attack right now is 1,006 with all of the masteries that I have set up and whatnot going on. So it basically doubles his attack when he gets to below 25% health. And then on top of that, you've got a signature ability, which increases his strengthening his attacks by up to 1,471 based on lost health. So if you're already lost low health, you stand a chance to possibly triple your attack. And then if you've got any Fury buffs on top of that, you can see, he's an absolute monster. So he's worthy of Hulk now. His abilities are worthy of Hulk, which is great. So those are my main 3 for Alliance Quest. I dedicate them strictly to Alliance Quest. So priority number 1 for me anyhow in our alliance is Alliance Quest, and beyond story mode, event quests, anything, those 3 champions are always going to Alliance Quest. That's the way I run it. That way I don't have any surprises. I don't have to keep messing around with different rosters. It makes it easy to know which paths I can clear. So with Hulk, he's also poison immune. That makes him good for doing the poison paths. And I usually like to run the immune path in section 2 of map 5 in Alliance Quest, just because it helps keep you on your toes. It's not a skill that everybody has to be able to get through without the ability to parry, but it definitely makes you a better player if you just go for it. So those 3 are for Alliance Quest, and then my main Alliance War offense, which is my second priority, is offense for Alliance War. I usually bring Rogue. Rogue is an amazing character. Rogue, I'm so fortunate to pull her from a 4-star crystal quite a while back, several months ago. And it was around the time the 12.0 patch came out, and so I got one of those 4-star generic awakening gems. And I just, I liked Rogue. I really liked her mechanics and the way she worked and stuff, and I liked the sound of her signature ability, so I said, what the hell, let's go for it. And I don't regret it. I don't regret using a awakening gem, a generic on her. And then all of these signature abilities levels since then, have been just from signature stones from various, rewards and stuff like that, greater solo crystals, etc. So Rogue, what she's doing is her basically, on her L1 attack, she has a chance to steal a bunch of buffs, but the major thing there is she can do life steal, which deals 510 energy damage. Now, it always ends up being more than that. I think that might be the recovery part coming in. I don't know 100% on that. And then Rogue is healed 100% for the life stolen. So she's really good for that, where as you're losing health or you get tagged here or there, which hopefully usually you're not doing, and you need to kind of build her health back up. She's really good at that with building up to that L1 and then just triggering that to do a big life steal. So then once you get to her signature ability, it gives her the ability, every life or power steal has a 31.28% chance to be critical, increasing the amount absorbed. So I think that your cruelty and your precision masteries help boost this. So this is just giving you the chance that it's critical. So I guess precision isn't going to come into play, but I'm thinking cruelty does. Because a lot of times when this goes critical, you can see the main damage here is 510, which usually it ends up being around 600 and something. Like 650 to 700 lifesteal. When it goes critical, it can go all the way up to over 2,000. And just steal 2,000 plus health, just boom, like that. So it's huge. I mean, it's a game changer. It's a massive game changer. When you look at her compared to like X-23, she can't regen that fast. X-23 can't. And I know it's just a 33% chance, but that's 1 out of 3. That's pretty good. It does happen quite a bit. And so then on L2, when you're doing fine on health and you get in your parries and you're playing, really tight, and you don't need to worry about regenning, it's a good idea to save up the special 2, where she has a 100% chance to, per hit, to power steal, taking 9% of their power as her own. So that's 9%, and I believe it's a 3-hit combo. Yeah, 3 hits. It's 3 hits. It's so that's gonna be 27%, and that's a 100% chance to steal 27% of their power and take it as your own. So that's over a quarter of their power meter. Now, if you get the signature ability to go crit with that, then again you're turning a 700, you know, damage hit into like 2,000 or 3,000 on those hits. She can do like 2 to 3,000 on those hits when they crit. And then that's obviously also helping steal even more power. So it's not uncommon to trigger an L2 and be about halfway, after you finish it, be halfway up through the second bar of power again. So just a few hits and you're ready to trigger another L2. And you're also kind of managing their power level that way, stealing their power and keeping them low. So Rogue is really good. She's got power steal, she's got regen with the life steal. She also shrugs off any debuffs 70% faster, right here, their passive ability, which is huge because, for stuns, she's going to shake those things off way quicker. Poison, bleeds, they almost don't even last at all on her. She just heals up quick. So she's really versatile. That's why I like bringing her in on Alliance War offense. She's definitely one of my most versatile characters. Definitely, I have to say she's my favorite that I have out of all of my characters. Rogue is definitely my all-round favorite for sure. And then my other one that I always have on Alliance War offense is Elektra. I'm a big fan of Elektra. She was one of my first 4-stars. She wasn't my first one. My first one was Iron Patriot. Awesome. But Elektra was one of my first good 4-star characters. And then she was also my first duped character. So all of this was, I duped her once, and then the rest has been just signature stones getting her up to level 53. But Elektra has a crazy crit rate. What is it? Critical damage rating 836. If we compare that to somebody like, let's see what Thor's is. Okay, Thor's critical damage rating is 844, and his critical rating is 372, versus Elektra, who has 686 for critical rating and 836 for critical damage rating. That's enormous. I mean, when she crits, and it's a lot. You can see here it's 25.5% chance, roughly, that she's going to get a crit on every regular hit. And then when that happens, her critical damage rating is basically 200% of her attack. It's insane. She does so much damage. So she's just an absolute damage monster. But the real critical thing of why I like to use her for war offense is that Alliance War defenses are littered with characters that have very annoying abilities like evade. You got your Spider-Man, your Nightcrawlers, Ultron, Black Widow. They all have evades. You don't see many Black Widows, but you see the other three. You see like a lot of Spider-Man, Miles Morales, classic Spidey. Definitely a lot of Nightcrawlers in the maps these days. And Ultron, he's still around there a lot. So, those guys are really annoying to deal with when you don't have somebody who can kind of mitigate those defensive ability triggers. And that's what's nice about Elektra here. So she's got, here, it says the second one, all attacks right there at the top. Opponents passively suffer 85% reduced defensive ability accuracy for as long as they are under a debuff effect. So, what is a debuff effect? Well, if you parry stun them, if you can stun them, they're going to have 85% reduced ability triggers. So whatever their chance is, it's reduced 85%. So if you're fighting Ultron, he has that really, really annoying evade that happens just every now and then you get clipped with a massive combo and it sucks. Also, he's got the 2 regens that you have to deal with. Both of those things are defensive abilities. And so if you can... Now, Ultron doesn't bleed, and Elektra does a lot of bleed damage, but she also does, if you look at her special 1 here, she has 75% chance to inflict bleed, but if it's against a bleed immune champion, right there, 70% chance to armor break the target, reducing armor by 1300 for 9 seconds. Same with special attack 2 and 3. So she's got a really good chance to bleed them, but if they're bleed immune, she can armor break them. So even if you're fighting Ultron, you can hit one of those special attacks and you can, slap him with a debuff here. And I think special 2 and 1 have a chance to stack 2 of them because they're a double hit or triple hit. Usually you get like 2 of them stacked from either of those. So if you stack 2 of those on him, that's 9 seconds that you've got 85% chance that he's not going to trigger those regens at the half health. So if you time it just right, when he's about to go under half health and you can slap him with one of these debuffs, he's not going to trigger it. And it's not going to happen when he comes out of it. And you can blow right past that. Same with Nightcrawler. If you're sitting there trying to get him switched to swashbuckling mode and he's doing that really annoying thing where he dodges back and then he holds block and you get in there and you start hitting him and the timer's almost there, you just about got it to swashbuckling mode and he bamps away. And then you get completely screwed. If you can stun him, great, stun him. And then he can't do that. If you can stun him and then hit him with an L1 and then get those bleeds, especially if you've got deep wounds active now, the bleeds are going to last even longer, so it's going to give you even more time where his defensive abilities are reduced. So if you can do that, then you can go in there and hit him, and he's going to be 85% less likely to evade. Same with Spidey. Same with, so I feel like for Alliance War in the current state it is with all the champions and what people have for defense, you just have to have champs that can do defensive ability reduction. So Elektra's a good option. A lot of the time I'll also bring in Falcon for the same reason. Falcon's not particularly my favorite character. He does have decent stats for critical rating, critical damage, but he's okay. But the real kicker here is his Red Wing ability. So basically he just dodges. If you dodge back, and then you hold block. You have to hold it for, what is it, 2 seconds? Hold block for 2 seconds. Yeah, to be in a recon scan, dodge back and hold block for 2 seconds while locked on. The opponent's defensive ability accuracy is reduced 100% for 10 seconds. That means absolutely no evade, no regen, nothing. None of those things are going to happen. So if you're fighting Nightcrawler, again, and he's a pain in the butt to get into swashbuckling, if you have Falcon, he may be worth trying to level up. If you don't have him awakened, that's fine, whatever. It's just you're going to have to wait a little bit and dance around evading specials and attacks until you're ready to go with the Red Wing scan and lock on. The only problem is against mutant champions like Nightcrawler is that he's going to be, as you see there, 20% shorter duration against mutant champions. So he's got 10 seconds lock on for that 100% reduction of abilities. And so that's going to turn into 8 seconds against Nightcrawler or any other mutant characters. But if you're fighting against Spider-Man, because this is a skill character, he's going to last for 12 seconds. He's going to stay locked on. Or Electro, because he's got that really annoying Electro Shock. This is also, both him and Electra are good for dealing with Thorns nodes, because Thorns is a defensive ability trigger. So if you can keep them, if you got Electra, you can keep them debuffed, keep them bleeding, or keep them armor break, or just only hit them when they're under a stun from parry, and then back off, wait, and stun them again. Then you're not going to take that damage, that unavoidable damage. You can avoid it. So I like to stack it with these two so that I have options to handle those things, because you can't, because at the level we're at, with the tier we're at, you can't see what's coming up as far as the class relationship of champions and stuff, so you can't even guess, like, oh, there's a mutant and it's a Nightcrawler. But anyhow, so that's what I do, and then the rest kind of tend to be on Alliance War defense. I like to put Mordo on defense. Mordo's really annoying to fight against him. There's tricks. I mean, he's not impossible, but a lot of people still find him very, very difficult. And then because he's awakened, he's got this, what he's got, 4,080 energy resistance while he remains blocking. So, anybody who's dealing energy damage like Doctor Strange or Magic with her Limbo, I mean, I think he can stop that. That's another one. Limbo's affected. Limbo triggers are also affected by defensive ability reduction with Elektra and Falcon. So if you have those two, you can also handle Magic. That's another one I forgot. So I usually put Mordo on defense. Voodoo, I've been putting him on defense. I just slap him over on that poison node on, I think it's node 12. I mean, I don't expect anybody's really going to get hit by his L1 and actually get poisoned. You'd have to be a pretty crappy player to actually get hit by that. No offense, but it's really easy to evade. But I throw him in there anyhow. He's pretty decent. I put Black Panther in there, a classic Black Panther. I usually put him on a bleed node just to, in case somebody slips up. If Black Panther touches you at all, especially once he's awakened, you're gonna get hit with a bleed probably. And then now I have deep wounds, maxed out, so those are gonna last even longer, do even more damage. So his signature ability allows him to 8% chance to inflict bleed on regular attacks, and an unduped one has just a chance on critical hits. So I usually put him in there on a bleed node, something with like 40% increased bleed effectiveness or whatever like that. And then I'll throw in Magic. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Who else? I'll usually throw in like maybe Winter Soldier as well. Sometimes I'll sub in Falcon if I'm not feeling like doing Falcon on a round, and I've been bringing Miss Marvel on my offense team. She's been kind of subbing for Falcon here and there because she just does so much damage. I mean, she doesn't have the defensive ability reduction, so I get in trouble sometimes when all of a sudden you go along and, oh, hey, here's an Electro, and you're using Miss Marvel, so not really anything you can do about that Electro Shock stuff, unless you're just going to keep pinging her specials. But her damage output is determined by letting that special meter build up. So that's the gist of it. I won't go into all of the craziness of it, but I'll kind of scroll through. You can see what else I've got for 4-star. Some ones that I'm looking to rank up. I mean, my Doctor Strange, I still really like Doctor Strange. I know a lot of people hate him after the 12.0 nerf that happened to him. I just feel like you got to play him differently. The old classic Doctor Strange, the trick was once he got to that regen cycle, with the purple symbol up there, you would just trigger the L2 and deal some massive damage, and it was a percentage of the damage dealt was what you got back in health. Well, they changed that, so now it's a flat rate based off of your base health per hit that you get. So the idea is, instead of trying to hit big and heavy by triggering a special when you get there, the idea instead is to hit as many times as you can. So parry, 5-hit combo, parry, 5-hit combo, parry, 5-hit combo. 15 hits. Doctor Strange can can regen like, I don't know, a third of his health at least. If you're fighting right and you're being really aggressive. So Doctor Strange is another one that I'd really like to do still in the future. The rest of them I really need to pull some dupes of, but I'm also excited to get Spider-Man Miles Morales, or Morales, however you pronounce that, ranked up, because he does have the evade, even when he is not duped. Unlike classic Spider-Man, who has to be awakened to have that evade ability and really become a pain in the ass on Alliance War defense. But I think Spider-Man Miles Morales would be a really good option to boost up the defense, because he's just a pain to deal with. Like I said, if you don't have one of those characters who can deal with that, then you're just kind of stuck doing short combos over and over and over. If you can stun them, great, but otherwise it's kind of tough. I just got Drax. I'm really excited about Drax. Drax is good. He's got bleed as well. Moon Knight's got some bleed stuff, but Daredevil, I just got a dupe of him, so he's awakened now. 20, and the nice thing about Daredevil is he's got, what is it? Daredevil evades projectiles with 72.16% chance, so any projectiles at all, he's going to have a 72% chance to evade that, and that's just at level 20. I think once you get up to level 99 on that signature ability, it's like, I think it's 100% or 99% chance to evade, so it's handy, and especially on defense, if you drop them somewhere on there and, somebody's got a special, like, I don't know, Elektra, she's got, projectiles where she throws the shurikens in her L1, he's going to evade those things pretty well and not get clipped by them, and then be able to come in and do some damage. So, he's a good option. I got some other ones in here that, are kind of whatever. Like I said, I just got to waiting for some more dupes. This good old Iron Patriot. Such a trash. I really hate Iron Patriot. He was my first 4-star ever, and I was excited at the time, and I ranked him right up as far as I could, 330, and I don't know. Even then, I just felt like he didn't have much damage output and stuff. But the the real crappy thing is, I feel like he's gotten worse since he got the signature ability. I mean, I know it gives you a shot in the arm, this boost of regen. Once he drops below 15% health, he gains 2,997 regeneration and 50% power gain. Oh, cool, 50% power gain. That's awesome. And I get to regen like Iron Man. Cool. Oh, wait, there's more? After that, his suit burns out and cannot trigger armor up. Can't trigger armor up, armor break, or stun, and loses all base armor. All. Base armor goes to 0. He's trash. After his regen happens, it's nice that your health meter goes back up, but you have no armor anymore. So if they hit you, you're just totally screwed. You're wide open. And I don't understand the point of getting 50% power gain when his special attacks, they kind of suck. They just don't do much anyways. But the main thing here is you see his L1, 70% chance to armor break. Oh, well, once you've triggered Arc Overload, you can't armor break anymore. So that's gone. So why bother triggering Special 1? Doesn't do squat for damage, especially if you're not getting that armor break. And special 2, 54% chance to armor break. Oh, nope, that doesn't work anymore after we've done the arc overload. And then, oh, 74% chance to stun. Nope, that doesn't work either. Maybe our 50% power gain gets us up to an L3. Hey, it's an unblockable. Doesn't deal a whole lot of damage. And, oh, 100% chance to stun. That's cool. Wait, no. Can't armor up, armor break, or stun. I just don't understand who the heck built the signature ability and looked at it and thought, yeah, that's good. That's good. That's good signature ability. That'll make the character better. I'd rather have him not duped. Honestly, I don't, I guess it saves your ass for like a few seconds, but after that, you're complete trash. Like, it breaks the character once the signature ability comes in. And on the other hand, you've got Iron Man, who he does the same thing, but he doesn't lose all of those abilities. He doesn't trash his armor and stuff like that. Like, I don't get it. It's completely backwards for me, but that's my spiel. I've got a lot of other ones like Phoenix. I'd like to rank her up for prestige. Karnak, he's okay. Phoenix is all right. She's her damage output's not great, and unless you push it to the L3 and you can get all those Furies built up to like 10 or 11, and you trigger that L3, man, look out! She's gonna rip you apart for real. So anyhow, the video's running a little bit long, so I'm gonna cut it there. So basically, that's kind of in a nutshell my roster and the ones that I use, and a little taste of the strategy that I use for doing the yeah for doing Alliance Quest, Alliance War offense, and then Alliance War defense. So hopefully that helped. If you like it, please hit subscribe down below. Leave a like, leave a comment, tell me what you think, tell me what you have, tell me what you might think that I should work on out of my roster. Always like to hear other people's tips and tricks and advice. Take that into account. Yeah, so thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you again for smashing some more stuff real soon. Okay, see ya.